Let's work on hip mobility and flexibility. I was reading how one somatics teacher described the hips as the junk drawer of our body, where we store a lot of our emotions. For you, that may be different. Could be the neck, the shoulders, other areas. The hips, where our creative energy is said to be, sometimes get very contracted. So these 4 poses will be very helpful in kind of unlocking that creativity and cleaning up the junk drawer. We'll begin lying down, and you may want to have blocks and a blanket for your practice. Begin with your knees bent. Take your right ankle just to the outside of the left knee. Draw the right thigh away from you. You can use your hand if you wish to just open that area just a bit. As you do, keep your right foot very active, the right toes spread. You can stay here, or if you wish, draw your left knee in, interlace your fingers behind the left thigh. You may even want to use a strap around the left thigh if you feel like there's not that much flexibility. Maintain nice awareness of the actions that you're doing. Maintain an engagement in the legs. Allow the breath to flow very free and natural. Lean a little bit to the right. Take your gaze slightly over your right shoulder. Come back to the center and lean just a little bit to the left. Look over the left shoulder. Come back to the center position. Reach your right thigh, right knee away from the right ribs as you're pulling in with the interlaced fingers, pulling the left thigh closer. It's a nice isometric action to build a little bit more curve in the lumbar spine. You can release your feet down and just pause for a moment with your feet together in Supta Baddha Konasana. Just notice the difference, the right side compared to the left. Maybe you feel more length from the pelvis to the knee. Maybe it feels more grounded. Just observe. Now fold your knees in toward one another. Step your feet to their hip distance apart. Have your left foot just to the outside of the right knee. Maybe even with your hand, you can encourage the left thigh to move away from the left ribs. Get a nice ease in your breath. Nice engagement of the left leg. You can stay in this position, just opening the hip nicely with a little pressure from the hand if you wish. Or you can interlace your fingers behind the right thigh, just at the belly of the hamstring muscles. Engage your feet, engage your legs nicely, spread your toes. As you pull the right thigh closer to the right ribs. See if you can resist with the right legs reaching back. Just as your hands were pressing the left thigh back, see now if you can work the left thigh back just a little bit more in its own action. Just lean slightly to the left and look over the left shoulder. Shift back to the center position. Re-engage the legs, the action of the arms. Take the heads of the arm bones back. Before rocking slightly to the right side, look over your right shoulder. Get a nice stretch to the side body. And come back to the center position. Release your feet down to the mat. Take your feet once again in Supta Baddha Konasana with your feet together in this prayer pose. You can have your arms to your sides with your palms open, or just a little pressure on the inner thigh muscles with your hands pressing down, your choice. Just close your eyes for a moment. Breathe in. Breathe out long. Now fold your knees together. Draw over to your right side to lift yourself up to come to either all fours position or downward facing dog, your choice. In whatever pose you chose, get the fullness of your breath to be expressed in the pose. Discover ways to expand the back body through the breath. Now look forward and step your right foot just to the outside of your right hand. It's a wide step. Bring your back knee down to the earth. See if you can bend your elbows to take your forearms down. For many of us, that's going to be a little inaccessible. So just by using the blocks as a platform for your forearms, that might be a little bit more accessible for you. You may want to scoot your left knee back. As you turn your awareness to the knee, you can even work the inner knee against your hand to create just a little bit more opening as you settle into the pose. So the knee is working against your hand, drawing your pelvis down toward the mat. You can release yourself out of the pose to come to a straight leg form of this lunge. So straighten your right leg, lift your right toes up and spread your right toes. I'm using the blocks in their tallest form to keep a nice alignment to the spine. Draw slightly forward, just to bring a little bit more awareness to the back side of the leg, to the hamstring muscles. You're drawing the right heel down and yet pulling it in, pulling it toward you to get this nice awareness. Just soften a bit more. Keep this nice elongation of the spine. Now lift yourself up to come either again to all fours position, puppy dog position, or downward facing dog. As you find your way to whatever pose you chose, just take a moment to observe what happened on the right side and notice the contrast between how the right side feels compared to the left. Look forward, step your left foot just to the outside of your left hand. Come to a low lunge by bringing your right knee down. Many of us, again, can just stay here with our hands to the floor, maybe even take your forearms to the floor. But a lot of us could use a little platform here, maybe blocks, to allow us to just draw a little deeper in the pose with support. Drop your pelvis down and just adjust your posture so that you can be in the posture for a bit. You may want to offer a little resistance to the inner knee to really work this leg a little bit more. As you pull the leg in toward the midline, you offer just a little resistance with the left hand. Just keep on softening toward the earth. And you can release out of this pose to come toward a straight leg, a runner's lunge. As you straighten your left leg, you can move your left foot so it's right in the center of your mat. Spread your left toes. Get tall through the help of your blocks. Keep a nice spinal alignment as you draw toward the toes. So rather than rounding, we're just taking our attention to the hips and the back of the leg as you draw the toes toward you. You reach the heel away. You soften even more. Just spending a little bit of time here in the pose. Just allowing the muscles to release a little bit more fully. Now slowly lift yourself out of the pose. Let's come to sit. And as you come to sit, have your feet forward. You may want to use your blanket here. Sometimes when we sit forward, there's quite a bit of rounding in the back. But if we have a little elevation, you might even be able to use your blocks for this. If you have just a bit of elevation, it allows you to sit a lot taller. So with your left leg straight, bend your right knee. Just draw the right thigh in. Take hold of your right heel and pull your right heel in toward your heart. Just move side to side. Try not to sickle the ankle. Try to keep the ankle in a nice alignment. Now, if you're finding that this is pretty accessible to you and you can take the arch of the foot into the inside of your arm and cradle the leg, it's called baby cradle, and just move side to side just nicely with your left foot forward, with your right knee bent. You're just moving side to side. And if that doesn't feel exactly right to you, even holding on to the leg with the eyes of the elbows, kind of creating just a little ledge for you. That works. Just stay in the pose. Little movement side to side. And now find that stillness in the pose. Sitting tall. Release your right leg. Just reach it out. And notice how the energetics of the legs feel so different. Let's balance that out by bringing the left knee in. Hold on to the left heel so that you can just kind of start to adjust yourself slightly and see for yourself if this feels like the perfect position for you. Or maybe you can come a little bit closer, bring the shin a little bit closer, just moving it side to side to gain more fluidity in the hip area. Maybe you can even cradle the leg, moving side to side. Just whatever posture works for you. Or you may wish to just cradle the calf muscle, moving side to side. And then find stillness. However that works best for you, where you can just stay in the posture. Breathe fully and naturally. And slowly release yourself out of the posture. Sit tall. Lift your arms up. Reach forward. Allow the hands to rest freely on the legs or your feet, wherever it feels right for you. See if you can avoid that rounding of the upper thoracic. We want to instead extend. As you press the backs of the legs very firmly down, can you bring your heart forward slightly, keeping a nice alignment? But bend your elbows to draw yourself just a little bit deeper into this forward fold. We're not going really deep. We're just taking our awareness in this practice to the pelvic area, how we might be able to shift that area, create a little bit more freedom, a little bit more flexibility. And in this pose, it's through getting length to the backs of the legs. Now inhale and let yourself up, come to lie down. You can release your arms to your side. Allow your breath to bring you to this place of ease. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Your arms and your legs feel completely supported by the earth. And that allows for greater pelvic freedom. These postures allowed for a little bit more pelvic release, flexibility, enabling this creative center, greater freedom. Greater possibilities through ease. May you find that ease. Namaste.